Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have 7 o'clock. Call the regular city council meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Madam Clerk, if you could please call the roll.
Certainly, Mr. Burmeister,
Here.
Mr. Kittle,
Here.
Mr. Knight,
Here.
Ms. Mitchell,
Present.
Ms. Verbecki,
Here.
Mayor McDaniel.
Here.
Ms. Hammond is absent this evening, and we do have a quorum.
Thank you. Council, next item is approval of the minutes. We had the regular city council meeting that occurred on March 27th. I do have a couple of very minor corrections, typos, Madam Clerk. Page 8 of the minutes section, it should say, and we have a clear path. Add the word we. And then page 11, third paragraph, I believe the word this should be crossed out, whereas the second to last sentence, it should state, it clearly meets instead of it clearly this meets. And Council, that's all the corrections I have. If there aren't any further corrections, I'd be open for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Burmeister, supported by Ms. Mitchell. Is there any further discussion or corrections? We're ready to vote.
Mr. Burmeister,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell,
Yes.
Ms. Verbecki,
Yes.
Mr. Kittle,
Yes.
Mr. Knight,
Yes.
Mayor McDaniel.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 5, appointments and presentations. This evening, we have first up 5A, presentation of badges for our firefighters. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of council. Tonight, I stand before you to recognize the individual commitment and accomplishments of two of our newest full-time members. Firefighter David Burnett Jr. and firefighter Brianna Deming have successfully completed the requirements of their one-year probationary period. Over the course of that probationary period, new firefighters are required to demonstrate a mastery of many firefighting and EMS skills. Tonight, we are here for a badge pinning ceremony, a long-standing tradition within the fire service. This is a significant milestone in the career of a firefighter as it marks a successful conclusion of their probationary status and the transition to a full-fledged member of the fire department. Firefighting operations are only successful through the coordinated efforts of a team. Over the past year, firefighters Burnett and Deming have demonstrated their commitment to filling key roles on our team. Firefighter Medic Burnett's official hire date was February 17th of 2016. You may recognize David as he was hired from our paid-on-call ranks, where he began his career in June of 2013. Firefighter Medic Deming, our first full-time female firefighter, was hired on March 7th, 2016. Brianna came to us from Lake Orion, where she served as a paid-on-call firefighter, and Star EMS, where she served as a paramedic.
Chief, if I could just have council join me in front here along with our city manager. I'd like to congratulate them as well.
Thank you. And council and mayor, tonight we have here pinning the badge of firefighter Burnett is his mother, Robin Bichon, and pinning firefighter Deming's badge is her father, Ed Deming. We didn't practice this beforehand, you can tell. Congratulations, Firefighter Burnett, for the win. Mayor, that concludes my presentation, but thank you very much for allowing us to be here tonight and supporting us. We appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you firefighters Burnett and Deming. We applaud all of your accomplishments. And on behalf of the City Council and of course all of our residents, we thank you for your willingness to serve our community as firefighters. Congratulations. All right. Continuing on, under appointments and presentations, we have 5B. We have an introduction of a gentleman by the name of Joel Nosenchuk, is that correct? For a speculative building designation for Continental Property LLC. Do we have any type of introduction for this, City Manager Tangi, or?
Well, I think there was, this is something through community development, so
Yeah.
I believe this is a result of an introduction of this project at our last meeting. It looks like Mr. Grice might be able to help me out a bit here.
Council requested, the gentleman was actually out of town on vacation last meeting, so council requested that he attend tonight's meeting.
Excellent. Well, if I could have Mr. Nosenchuk please come forward, and I hope I pronounced it correctly. If not, please make sure that I'm corrected.
That's better than most.
Okay, thank you. Sir, please go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us about the project as it relates to the building designation.
Well, it's a piece of property that I bought 10 years ago, 2007, bad timing. After that, property went way down in value. Sat with it for a long time. Things are a little bit better right now. A few years ago, we did some drawings. Very nice building. One of the few buildings on Harmon that have brick on them. The other two are buildings that I've also built. In any event, we had a few people that were interested in the building. The footprint of the building was actually larger. Neither of those panned out. Another company looked at it. I was hoping to make a deal. But they wanted the building smaller. We took off the last bay. That did not happen either. And as it turns out, we liked the size of the building better. It wasn't squeezed onto the even though I make money, the more square feet that I build, it just fit on the property better. It wasn't shoehorned on.
Right.
And after a few attempts to make deals, it didn't happen. So we're going to try to spec it.
Okay, excellent. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to actually have you come in here and tell us a little bit about it. Council, any questions for the gentleman that came this evening? Mr. Knight?
Not a question, I was just complimenting. I appreciate knowing you've had that property so long, you're familiar with it, you aren't just coming in and
Well-
doing something, and that's why we wanted to hear a little from you. Thank you.
Well, years before I bought that property, I built a couple of buildings on Harmon, one on the corner of Harmon and Giddings that Continental is in, and one, the next building east that Takata is in. And like I said, just timing was not quite right. But it's going to be a nice building, very nice building. We're only going to do the shell until we have a customer.
Then you're like thinking of having something done in December or something?
I'm sorry?
You're thinking of having the building done in December or a year?
We're hoping to get it fully enclosed by then. Hopefully, we're going to do our best.
Okay.
And then, actually, there was someone interested in it last year, and we were a little concerned because we didn't want to start in October, and then couldn't do any masonry till the weather warmed up. So we didn't want to wait any longer. We wanted to get on it and see if we can get the masonry done. Nice warm weather. So.
Okay, great. Well, sir, we appreciate again you coming in this evening and then sharing with us your vision for the property, and we obviously appreciate your willingness to invest in our community as well.
I think it's a great city building. I'm very happy building here, so I enjoy it.
Excellent. Well, thank
All
you.
set?
Yes, have a great evening.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, sure. One second here. Mr. Kittle, did you have something?
I have a question for staff.
Sure, go ahead.
I guess maybe Mr. Tangi, on a speculative building, when does it actually hit the tax rolls? Is that when it gets a certificate of occupancy, or how does that work?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't necessarily have to have a C of O. It would just depend on the degree of completion. So when improvements start going up, the taxable value will go up some too.
Well, like the gentleman said, his hope was to have it shelled, you know, just, is that something? that-
Yeah, it would be taxed then at what the value is at that time by the,
That's exactly right.
Okay, thank you.
and I just want to remind you that that was a speculative building designation 2 weeks ago that was granted. He just happened to not be here. So I know there was some question about a little bit more information on the property. And then he would have to come back if he wanted an IFEC designation for any kind of potential abatement.
Excellent, thank you. Well, we can move on then. We will move on to item number 6, public comment. Ladies and gentlemen, this portion of the agenda is reserved for anyone in the audience wishing to speak on an item that is not on this evening's agenda. We do ask that when you come through council chamber doors, you complete a public comment form. This helps facilitate the meeting and to ensure that we have accurate information for public record. This time, I do not see anyone in the audience other than staff members. So seeing and hearing none, we will close the public comment section. Council, that leaves us on to consent agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, all items are listed to be considered routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of any of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event that item will be removed from the consent agenda and then considered in its normal sequence. The only item for our consideration this evening, council, is a motion to approve the 2017 used car dealer's licenses. Council, it is before us for a motion.
Your Honor,
Ms. Mitchell,
I move to approve consent agenda item 7A.
moved by Ms. Mitchell,
Support.
supported by Ms. Verbecki. Any further discussion or comment? We are ready to vote.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
Ms. Verbecki?
Yes.
Mr. Burmeister?
Yes.
Mr. Kittle?
Yes.
Mr. Knight?
Yes,
Mayor McDaniel?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to item 8, old business. We have 8A. It's a request for a motion to approve 2017 SAD Road Program Contract Award regarding Deepwood Drive, Pacific Drive, North Atlantic, Continental, and the OHM scope of construction services and geotechnical materials and testing services. Good evening, Director Melcher.
Good evening, Mayor McDaniel and members of City Council. This agenda item was brought forth based on I think it was February 13th, City Council meeting where City Council approved resolution number 3, and that directed the city manager and staff to go out for bids on the 2017 road program. The bids were received on March 31st. And the low bidder is Ajax Paving. They are a very competent contractor, and staff therefore recommends the construction bid award go to Ajax Paving Industries Incorporated. Along with the construction contract is the related OHM scope of engineering services for construction and inspection, as well as the geotechnical testing materials and testing estimate. I am prepared to answer any questions City Council has at this time.
Thank you, Director Melcher. Council, any questions for staff? If not, be open for a motion. Mr. Knight.
I'll move to approve the 2017 SAD Road Program Contract Award in the amount of $3,568,440.25 to Ajax Paving Industries Incorporated, 1957 Crooks Road, Suite A, Troy, Michigan, 48084. OHM scope of construction services in the amount not to exceed $390,000, and the geotechnic material testing estimate of $99,000, subject to City Council's confirmation of the roles for SAD number 4 and SAD number 5. All costs will be divided into appropriate amounts and paid from the account number 203-453-973.000 deepwood.sad 202-452-935-000 Pacific SAD X, and 202-542-973-000 North American Atlantic XX, and that's NA for North Atlantic.
Moved by Mr. Knight. Do we have support?
Second.
Supported by Ms. Mitchell. Any further discussion? We're ready to vote. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Knight.
I was just gonna say, I read through there that the one, on the last one, the total cost was a little bigger than they expected. There was explanations of why it made sense. And so, putting them together like this seems prudent.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Knight. We are ready to vote.
Mr. Knight?
Yes?
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
Ms. Verbecki?
Yes.
Mr. Burmeister?
Yes.
Mr. Kittle?
Yes.
Mayor McDaniel?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. And then 8B, under old business, it's a request for motion to adopt a resolution accepting the special assessment role and to set a public hearing on the role. Director Melcher.
Mr. Mayor, the next two agenda items, City Council will be considering resolution number 4 in the Special Assessment District Ordinance Requirements and Procedure. Resolution number 4, if adopted, will accept the role, the updated role that has been prepared based on the construction bids that we received that you considered in the last item. And it will also set a public hearing for those prospective property owners to come in and voice their last opportunity, voice their concerns and or their objections to the role. In resolution number 5 will be presented on April 24th, right after the public hearing, where City Council will confirm the role.
Thank you, Director Melcher. Council, any questions for staff at this time? If not, I'd be open for a motion.
Your Honor,
Ms. Mitchell.
I move to approve resolution number 4, a resolution accepting the special assessment role for the proposed special assessment district number 4 regarding the repair of and improvements to Pacific Drive and setting a public hearing on the role for April 24th, 2017 at 7 p.m. in the City Hall at 1827 North Squirrel Road, Auburn Hills, Michigan, 48326.
Moved by Ms. Mitchell. Do we have support?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Kittle. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Knight.
Just a question. When a SAD is established and we're paying half, how is the person, the various interests, they have to pay their share? Does that go on their tax rolls for a period of time, or does it go on just as a gross number? I was just curious, how do we spread that cost?
This special assessment district assignment, as well as the next one, is for a 10-year period. And it is based annually, a 5% interest on the unpaid balance, spread over that 10 years. Or they can pay the entire amount up front.
10 years, they can spread it over 10 years.
That is correct.
And they pay a little interest, don't they?
About 5% annually.
Council, any further questions? If not, we're ready to vote.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Kittle?
Yes.
Mr. Knight?
Yes.
Ms. Verbecki?
Yes.
Mr. Burmeister?
Yes.
Mayor McDaniel?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. The last item under old business is 8C. It's request for motion for the resolution regarding the special assessment role and the public hearing for the Atlantic Boulevard and Continental Drive SAD. Director Melcher.
Nothing more to add, Mr. Mayor. Pretty much the same information and presentation as the last item.
Excellent, thank you. Council, any questions regarding this item? We are open for a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Mitchell, I'm sorry, Ms. Verbecki.
move to approve resolution number 4, a resolution accepting the special assessment role for the proposed special assessment district number 5 regarding the repair of and improvements to North Atlantic Boulevard and Continental Drive, and set a public hearing on the role for April 24th, 2017 at 7 p.m. in the City Hall at 1827 North Squirrel Road, Auburn Hills, Michigan, 48326.
Moved by Ms. Verbecki. Is there support?
Second.
Supported by Ms. Mitchell. Any further discussion? We are ready to vote.
Ms. Rebecki?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Burmeister?
Yes.
Mr. Kittle?
Yes.
Mr. Knight?
Yes.
Mayor McDaniel?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. There's no new business, so we'll move on to comments and motions from council. Mr. Knight?
Thing I have tonight is a week from tomorrow is our steak and burger dinner, and I hope that all of you would be able to come to the VIP reception at 5:30 at the Meadowbrook Hall. And of course, then the main dinner will be at 7 o'clock at our community center. But I find that the folks that give money and so on always like to mingle with the city council. So I just need to know before I leave tonight, account, so we got to turn in an account for next Wednesday, and I hope you can all come. Personal invitation. And Cheryl would have done it if it come the other way. She would have got the invitation.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. Mr. Kittle?
I just want to say thank you for the workshop tonight. I thought that was very informative, and I hope people learned as much as I did. Thank you.
Excellent. You're welcome. Mr. Burmeister?
Yeah. Last night I sent out an email regarding the city newsletter being late. Actually, I received it at my house on Saturday, several weeks after some of the classes started. So I believe Ms. Carroll's in the audience and she can help explain the reason why. And do we know if any of these classes got canceled? Was any of the instructors not paid?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm here tonight to acknowledge those concerns, Mr. Burmeister, and sort of provide a timeline. I'm not sure about the classes, but I will definitely follow up with Mandy and Karen at the community center first thing tomorrow morning. When I got the information that your newsletter had arrived late, I immediately wanted to establish a timeline to understand what could have happened from the deadline to the delivery date. And so I worked with Jessica today, and typically our deadline is, or I should say, our deadline is February 20th. The issue received was the first time we did a combined issue. We wanted to have more newsletters in print and in circulation, and in order to not go beyond our established budget that we already had for the newsletter, if we did a combined issue, we were able to double our mailing to our residents. And so we found a little bit more value in doing the double issue this time because we could put in information up until August. And summer's a very busy time of year for seniors at Parks and Rec and for all of our events. And so everyone really liked the idea of doing this combined issue. It was a little bit of a challenge. We knew there was a lot more information, a lot more work that would go into producing this particular newsletter, and we were prepared for that. What we were not prepared for was the power outage and the binding machine breaking at our printer. And the only reason we found out about that was because we called and hadn't received our newsletters in the office yet. And so the power outage pushed printing back. They were without power for 5 days, which meant 10 business days behind for them. And then they encountered the binding problem of our newsletters. They did not communicate that to us. So I think going forward, I think we need to establish a much clearer line of communication with our printer and perhaps have a backup system, a backup printer. That's something we can definitely discuss with them. I understand the frustration, it's not acceptable, but I think we can provide some solutions so that it does not happen again. We do bulk mailing right now. We can look at going away from that. By using a bulk permit, the post office has 10 to 14 days to actually deliver it once it's dropped off. It was dropped off at the post office on March 29th. Which is why you didn't receive it until Saturday. I'm not aware of anything being canceled as of yet. I did look through the newsletter and made some notes so that I can follow up with the community center.
Okay. Ms. Carroll, just out of curiosity, who's the printer on these?
ColorTech, and they've been printing our newsletter for the last 3 years.
Okay, other than this, no issues with them?
No, they provide some sort of value-added services. They actually print us a draft so that departments can come and approve the information that they submit, so they will actually see what it looks like when it's printed. Then we get a final draft. They help us with some of the editing and formatting, which is great. It's not a service they charge us for, but we've not had any problems to date with them.
Okay. I definitely can appreciate the fact that, they were without power, so obviously that was unplanned for. The only concern I really have, I guess, with the whole issue is the lack of communication from the binding aspect of it, which clearly that would have been in their control. And so, I'm not sure what other printers we could look at, but I think it, definitely not only would we have a backup for the next time, but also possibly seeking other primary printers too, since that may be able to provide us with a better line of communication.
Absolutely, I agree, and we will stress that to them because that's very important in terms of delivering things on time. We like to have the newsletter in the mailboxes 10 days before registration opens to the public.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate staff researching this. We have a question from Mr. Knight over here.
I hate to be negative, but a backup printer that'll never happen again in our lifetime. A power outage, so, okay, you get somebody else in line and you never use them. Sounds to me, though, like the post office is messing up like they did with the absentee ballots. Because if you didn't get it until last Saturday, that was a week or so to deliver the mail, wasn't it?
Again, we mail in bulk, and I've not heard from the printer or anyone that it was a post office problem. So I don't know, combined perhaps with the inability to print and bind the newsletter, that could be a delay. But that's sort of one of the solutions that I think we can have as a staff and talk about, is to maybe not bulk mail. I don't know what those costs are. I don't know. There's certain mailing requirements that the post office has, and something certainly we can investigate. I don't know that I've had a problem to date with the post office either, but they could have been behind due to the power outage as well. I'm not 100% sure on that.
I think I heard you suggest, and I'm agreeing, you just need to know when the printer needs to keep you advised of what's going on. You need to know the exact date he's going to print, when he's delivered to the post office, and you just need somebody, get him to follow through so you know something. It seems like it's
Right, if there is an issue,
colossal
they should, just let us
miscommunication.
know. Yeah, absolutely.
If the printer's offline, I would have expected he took up his cell phone and say, hey, I'm having trouble, City of Auburn Hills. He might be gently reminded that he wasn't very responsible in contacting us. We understand what happened, and we can tolerate that, but not knowing.
Right, that's the piece we needed, absolutely. I agree.
To Mr. Knight's point, though, and Madam Clerk, maybe you can fill us in, but I seem to recall that the sorting for bulk mail, gets shipped out of state now instead of the one that was in Michigan. Maybe you don't know that, but I did hear that from the post office, I believe something along those lines.
Last I knew, it's still going to Pontiac to be sorted, but I have been meeting with the post office people since the election, and they're going to allow us soon to start bringing our local mail, even if it's bulk, such as ballots, applications for ballots, and hopefully I can work newsletters into that. They're going to allow us to take it directly to our Auburn Hills post office and deliver it right out of there and bypass the sort facility. So we're about an inch away from that being finalized, but hopefully will be before the November election, and hopefully for the next newsletter.
Okay, great. Maybe that was the general mail and non-bulk items that was sorted elsewhere. So, are you all set? Okay. Did you have another question for that?
Just a
Ms.?
comment, I have not received mine yet. So everybody should have them in their hands by Wednesday or Thursday of this week, based on the 14 days.
If you do not receive it, please let me know. I would appreciate that.
So if anybody else in the community is listening, and they're interested in getting one, who should they contact?
They can call the city manager's office and we will add them to the mailing list, no problem.
And what's his cell phone number? No, I mean, what's that number? 248-370-9400?
Yes.
And he has to be connected to the city manager's office?
And we'll
Okay.
be happy to assist them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer one other solution. It is online. And it was posted online. Well, I'm just saying, if somebody were looking for it immediately and they have access to a computer, it was posted to our website March 17th. So it has been there for a couple of weeks already. So if somebody was looking for information and wanted to look at it online, they can find it there.
Excellent. Mr. Burmeister, is that all? All right. Ms. Rebecki, all set? Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell.
Just a couple of things. Wanted to remind everyone that our annual Easter egg hunt and bonnet contest is going to be this Saturday, the 15th. That's my understanding, starting at noon. That's always a fun event. Unfortunately, I have a conflict this year, so I'm disappointed I can't be there, but I know that it'll be a lot of fun for those people that are there. And let's see, let me get my notes back up here. Let's see. I wanted to express appreciation for Director Cohen and for Chief Oko for the rapid response to the concern that was raised regarding the parking and the traffic flow at the new plaza that we have at University and Squirrel. I really value the thoroughness of the assessment that was done, and I'm optimistic that the owner will be receptive to the recommendation. So thank you very much for that. And the church that's in the historic building downtown, Community Impact Center, is celebrating their 7th year anniversary in our city. So just wanted to give recognition for that. I know that can be a challenging location for a church, but I love having a church right in our downtown. I think it's very appropriate. And then lastly, I wanted to congratulate one of our Auburn Hills residents and student at Avondale Middle School, AJ Samanth. Hopefully I'm saying his name correctly, 13 years old, and he qualified for the State History B, the national competition. So he'll be representing our community in that competition. So congratulations to him. That's all I have.
Excellent, thank you. And all I have is wish everyone, as this coming Sunday, a happy Easter. And then a city attorney's report. City manager's report.
My items were covered. I'm all set.
Okay. All right, then we need a motion, council, to go into executive session regarding sale of land and also labor negotiations.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Ms. Mitchell, supported by Ms. Rebecki. We're ready to vote.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
Ms. Verbecki?
Yes.
Mr. Burmeister?
Yes.
Mr. Kittle?
Yes.
Mr. Knight?
Yes.
Mayor McDaniel?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. All right, motion to adjourn moved by Mr. Knight, supported by Ms. Mitchell. All in favor?
Aye.
Those that oppose? Meeting is adjourned.